So, when Harlow the rabbit was tiny and small, his feet started growing, and that's about all. Oh, gracious, his mother exclaimed in surprise. They're 2 times too big for a rabbit your size. That's a sign, said his father. He'll grow to great height. A father's prediction turned out to be right. For Harlow began to get bigger each day. He grew all around and in every which way. Please, cried his mother, stop growing right now. Please, Harlow, you're nearly as big as a cow. Oh, that's a big problem, his poor father cried. There's no place around here where Harold can hide. He can't hide in bushes or in hollow logs. He'll soon be discovered by hunters and dogs. That's right, his poor mother hailed in despair. He will have to go live in a deep woods somewhere. So with tears in their eyes was first thing the next day, they watched as huge Harold, their son, hopped away. He galloped along on his big rabbit feet up through a meadow of waving gold wheat. He crossed a green pasture without being seen. Then he followed a creek bed along a vine. He hoped through a cornfield, along a rail fence, and came to a woods that was gloomy and dense. I must say, said Harlow, it doesn't look cheery. It looks very spooky. And creepy and eerie. I suppose, he continued, there's nothing to fear, for it doesn't seem likely there's anyone here. It was hopped down a path through twisty old trees where there wasn't a sound but a whisper of breeze. Then he heard a faint rustle, a twig snapping around. He stopped in his track to look quickly around. He saw Fox and weasels with eyes black and Betty, and a tree full of owls with eyes fierce and greedy. Now, said one owl, if we play it just right, we will all have a big rabbit bonnet tonight. I'm sorry, said Harold, to say I can't stay. And in one frantic leap, he was off and away. He raced through the bushes in such a fast pace that the weasels and foxes soon gave up the chase. But Harold kept running, so great was his fright, till the spooky old forest was miles out of sight. "I'm tired," said Harold. I'm through for the day," and he flopped down to rest on a big stack of hay. But his nap was cut short by a bossy old cow, who said, "Get off our breakfast and get out right now, and stay out of my pen, and don't eat in my drew," said a grimy old pig. "Now you better be off." Of course, there was nothing that Harold could say, so he left the cow pasture and went on his way. As he rambled along, a sweet scent crossed the breeze, the fresh green aroma of lettuce and peas. A scarecrow stood by with his arms in the air, as if he might say, "Help yourself, I don't care." But Harold had no more than started his feast when he heard someone shouting, "Now stop it, you beast!" A farmer came running across a barren lot, took aim with his rifle, and fired a shot. Harold had never been shot at before, and he raced on in panic for 5 miles or more. Then he stopped at the creek and sat down on a rock, and he tried to relax and get over the shock. "A big rabbit like me isn't safe anywhere," he said with a long, weary sigh of despair. And he sat starting helplessly down at his toes. A raindrop surprisingly plopped on his nose. Wind wiped the cattails and steered up the creek. Lightning shot through the sky in a long jagged streak. "It's a storm," said poor Harold. "I'd better find shelter." And away to the hilltop he ran, helter-skelter. He discovered a house and this deserted old place with dark, ghostly winds like eyes on its face. He approached the old man Manson with feelings of the boat. Which would be safer now, inside or out? His decision was made by a great thunder crash, and Harold was through the front door in a flash. He soon scrambled under a stairway to hide, and there he remained while the storm raged inside and outside. Thunder shook the old house till its dry timbers creaked. Lightning flashed in the windows, and wind howled and shrieked. Through the whole afternoon, the storm raged and on, but finally it ran out of breath and was gone. Then Harold crawled out and began to explore. He crept up the stairs to the very top floor, which was stacked to the rafters with all sorts of things, including a bed with a mattress and springs. He went out the bed and found it too small, but it's better, he reasoned, than no bed at all. He awoke the next day and squeaked out of a door, and the sound of some footsteps belonged on the door. So he tiptoed downstairs to see what made the noise, and came face to face with two terrified boys. "Oh, it's a ghost! It's a ghost!" They both screamed and they fell. But one of them stopped. "It's a rabbit," he said. "Yes, that's a big rabbit that Oliver Hatch shot at and missed in his vegetable patch." And all away they both ran just as fast they could to tell everyone in the whole neighborhood. The farmer stopped plowing and started right out to hunt the big rabbit they'd all heard about. When they reached the old mansion, no rabbit was there. He was racing far up through the country somewhere. But the hunters kept snooping and picked up the trail. And they started to hunt for Big Cottontail. Huge Harold was now in a worse spot than ever. To outwit the hunter, he had to be clever. He ran down ravines, and he ran up low ridge and waded down creeks, and he hid under bridge. He ran on for many a mile, and finally decided to rest off a while. So he spotted a hideout, and with a big hop, he came flopping down in a leafy tree top. This fooled the hunters and also their dogs, who snipped round the tree trunk and peeked into logs. But they never once drew to look up in the tree. It wasn't a place where a rabbit should be. So at last they gave up and all went away, and promised to start again early next day. A great hunt continued for week after week, like a countryside contest of hide and go seek. It went on and on through the months of September and into October and all through November. December arrived with a first heavy snow, and the temperature dropped down to 14 below. Hallard shivered and shook from his frostbitten nose all the way down to his half-frozen toes. "I'm done for," he said. "I'm through altogether. If I don't get out of this terrible weather. Just about then, something red caught his eye. A big friendly barn on a hilltop nearby. He headed straight from it and in out big hop. He leaned through the window way up in the top. Then he said as he lay in a big bed of hay, "This is the end. I'm through running away." Hollard was spotted by Orville Beakford, who heard some loud snoring way up in his loft. "Well, now," he said, "dog one and dagnabbit. Where's what I called hoping big rabbit?" Then all of once he heard someone snout, and he opened the window and poked his head out. "What is all the commotion and hula-baldy-loo? I'd just like to know that what you think you're up to." "We're hunting a rabbit," the hunter replied, "and we'll look through your barn if you let us inside." "He's in here," said Olive, "and here's where he will stay. And you're not coming in, so be off on your way." The hunters and all grumbled and kicked up all the snow, but last night they gave up and decided to go. Orville Beakford was both gentle and kind, but still Harold feared what he might have in mind. He was given fresh water and always well fed. Along with the horses, both Buster and Ted. "I know," Drew hollered, "just what he's up to. He'll fatten me up for a big rabbit stew." But when winter was over and spring came along, Holler discovered that he'd been wrong. One day he was brushed with a greatest of care to get all the foxtails and spurs from his hair. He was hitched to a buggy with harness and reins. Then went trotting or down the back country lanes. "Now this is more like it," Huge Harold said. "I'm treated and well as a fine dog would." At the end of summer, he went to the fair and created a long excitement. While there, the question came up as to whether or not a rabbit could enter the championship trot. They looked up the rules, but they couldn't find one that said, "It's not fair for a rabbit to run." So he ran in the race and won, going away. And because a champion trotter that day. The crowd loved huge Harold, and all brought him treats, such as lettuce and curly spinach and beets. It was too good to be true. Why they even brought it was too good to be true. Like a wonderful dream. Why they even brought Hollard some carrot ice cream. But all the susses didn't go to his head. He remained the modest and humble inside. Instead, for rabbit to see aren't affected by fame. No matter what happens, they're always the same. So, it is 8:11. It is 8:11 o'clock. 8:12 o'clock. It's 8:12 o'clock. So we finished in 8:12 o'clock. So in the next video, we will read Just Ducks. So let's see in next videos. Bye. Bye bye everyone.